Okay, did you feel that? It hits a little bit different, right? Imagine if that was just a static banner ad that said Max Connect, right? What you can do and the power of video to really get consumers bought into and really engage with your brand is unparalleled. So I want you to finish this quote. Raise your hand, finish the quote. You reap what you sow. Okay? So another question. How many of you, raise your hand if you know what succession planting is? I do because I Googled it yesterday. Succession planting is where you take one root out and you immediately plant another, right? So how does that translate to marketing? Really, when we look at our overall long-term growth strategies, our sales strategies, it really has to be that succession planting program. It can't just be going to the top of the tree and just pulling all the fruit off. Like Greg just showed this slide where it kind of shows about brand expansion. Really focuses on nourishing the roots all the way through, getting that nourishment throughout the tree. So I mean, if you're a farmer and you go and just pull all the fruit off come springtime, and then you don't do anything to nourish that tree, what's your harvest going to look like the next year? That's really what the low funnel emphasis, and really what if that's all you ever focus on, the roots will dwindle. You're not going to be driving fresh fruit to cultivate later years. So I love this analogy. And the other thing is you kind of look at that trickle-down effect of like awareness, interest, consideration, evaluation, conversion, all ultimately going back to nourish that root. So the roots are stronger. They're that much more fulfilled. You're getting that much more out of your cultivation the following year. So we already saw the slide, brand versus performance, but we really, again, this is a big focus and emphasis for every marketing campaign that we create a proposal on. It's really looking at, okay, where is your brand acknowledgement right now? How can we improve that so more people in your marketplace are searching for you, not just searching for your generic product that you're going to have to compete every single click and pay for every single click. We want to drive people to your brand so they're searching for you. They're bought into you.
Yeah, so one of the most important elements of when you're developing paid video is pre-production. This is where you're putting all the front work so that your end product is way easier and you're able to actually make decisions on how that's going to turn out in the beginning stages. So the first part is creative strategy. When you're developing a video, you want to make sure that you are targeting your audience. You're not just coming up with, oh, this is a cool concept, but you're understanding why. Why is it a cool concept and how is it going to resonate with our audience? And then after we get that, we move on to script development. It's always important to have a script. A lot of people think, oh, I can just wing it, no big deal. It's a big deal because then you're able to know what you're going to say, and more importantly, you know what the end product's going to look like. So you can already make adjustments and tweaks before we've even started shooting, because that's, I think, the biggest element of pre-production is when you have that final product and you want to make changes and we haven't done a good, strong job in pre-production, you're limited on the changes that you can make. But when we're in the beginning, we can really make those changes. And a big element of that is storyboarding. Storyboarding is a way for each of you to see what your video is going to look like without needing to shoot anything. So we're already changing shots. We're already changing locations, we're coming up with what talent looks like, all the composition before we've even started. And then finally, we have our shot list, which is just explaining how we're going to shoot. And so if we've done all these things properly, the next step is way easier. Production's way smoother, and we're able to actually maximize more time along the production process.
Yeah, so I see Travis and Ephraim kind of chuckling here because Travis is just like, he's just got the mojo, he's got the swag, right? You wing it all the time. Right? Well, again, it comes down to, you carry a certain demeanor, and you obviously integrate that into your ads. I love what you guys have done, and I always hear Mike talking about some of the things. But what's cool is there's stuff happening behind the scenes. I hear him talking to Brock. I hear him talking to the team about some of these elements that we're going to incorporate. What's the overall vision of the project? What are we going to try and accomplish? So the other thing is looking at its use case analysis. Okay, as we look at building everything out, how are we going to implement this? How are we going to deploy it? What is the end goal? What are we trying to accomplish? What do we want our customers to feel? What do we want them to do? What is the action item we're trying to drive? So all of that really kind of goes back into, okay, how we build out this campaign. Where is it going to hold their hand at the very beginning of their journey and just educate them about our brand? Or are we going to hold their hand a little bit lower and nurture them down to the next phase of our marketing strategy, which is going to be a little bit more hand-holding towards conversion? And so really it's a full funnel approach, but it starts with some of that pre-planning and knowing exactly what you're trying to accomplish with the ad creative, with the messaging, with the script, and everything like that. And then also I'll say, we love this infographic here with gathering and layering data because everything comes down to audience, right? And understanding the right audience and getting that right message in front of that audience at the right moment is really what drives all of our success as an agency and all of your success as business owners and managers.
Yeah, so one of the recent hires that we've had and recent additions we've had to our team is we've brought in a storyboard artist. So now we're able to work with you and really create the shots as they were supposed to be. So before it was working with Shotless, it was trying to find similar images off of Google and then trying to help you understand. But now we're able to fully show you what it's going to look like, and then we can change shots before we even start shooting. Like for example, this is a shot we did for Blendtec, and they had this ingressed display that could protect from juice getting on it, and so we did a shot with like juice dripping all over it and stuff. Like that's not very attractive, let's cut that. And then we were able to remove that before even wasting time shooting. And so this is a massive asset for us to allow you to see what we're going to shoot before we shoot it, and we're already making revisions. Because the most important element for us is we want to get your video as fast as possible. We want you to be able to get that running, work with traction, build it. And so by doing this in the front end, we're allowing a reduced amount of revisions in the back end, and we're getting your videos out faster. So now we've done our pre-production part. We got everything figured out. We got our location. We've got our talent booked. So now what do we do to make sure that the shoot is as productive as possible? One of the most important elements is having a clear brand vision, whether that be having a representative from your company there that's able to help us guide and make sure that we're not doing anything off brand, if you're sharing brand guidelines with us, sharing past videos. We really want to make sure that we're aligning with your brand. So maybe we're trying a different idea, but it still needs to circle back and align back with your brand so that you don't waste brand recognition. And then we're maximizing our content day. If we've done a good job with our pre-production, we have a location booked, and we have a certain amount of time, we can move through faster and maximize the content. So we're shooting extra stuff, we're shooting social content, we're shooting with social in mind, we're shooting with our deliverables in mind, and we're allowing ourselves to have variables that we can work within your videos. We can make different changes, we can make adjustments, we can do all these different things because we've prepared on the back end.
Again, I love just that little sizzle reel of different client work that we've done to, again, showcase the story and pull some of the excitement out of products, services, opportunities, recreation. I had a mentor that always say, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail, right? And I think that really comes perfectly into play with this discussion that we're having as we start to create marketing plans and messaging plans and conversion funnels and all those types of things. That's all part of the plan, right? And focusing on the things that are going to help you be most effective throughout that plan are what's going to drive success for you.
Yeah. So if we've done all of our spots right, we're now in post-production. So post-production is where we can really elevate the footage and make it as fun as possible. As you can see on that image that we have, we were able to make a full video with just photos. We're able to really maximize and get creative and had a lot of fun with this. This was a really fun video that we did with a limited amount of resources. And so we can work within any budget. There's no restrictions. If you don't have a huge budget, we can work with existing footage and make it really pop. That's where post-production really helps elevate and sell any footage to your customers. Yeah. Yeah, so we can work with our digital team and we can A/B test. We can change. We can see what's working, and since we've prepared, we've shot extra, we can tweak. We can make adjustments, and we can follow those leads that are working. We can make the most out of these videos and really drive home whatever's working. And then the next step, yeah, we elevate footage. As you can see, we've tweaked things. We can make things. This is where we can do call-outs. We can add audio. We can do all these different things to really make it look awesome. And then finally, we can do motion graphics and animation. So this next example is one we did for Riverton Chevy. It's fully animated, and it was a really fun project, but it was a different way of approaching it. We didn't have to go out to the location. We didn't have to shoot. We did all the pre-production elements, and we were able to make a pretty smooth and fun cartoon. So there's a good example of just something short, something exciting, but also something different. And we're not limited with just quick YouTube ads or social ads. We can even do brand videos, we can do campaign videos, we can really tweak the audience to focusing wherever, even if it's just building up brand morale. Like we've had a couple clients where it's just getting them excited. They had a problem retaining their employees, so we did campaigns to grow and retain their employees, and we've seen a lot of success within that.
Okay, so let's move on to implementation. So this is an example from a company called Nightingale College. They're a local nursing school. When they were maintaining consistent growth as we started an early partnership with them through 2018, 2019, COVID hit and it rocked their world. It was a complete shift. Like, what are they going to do? They were working in nursing homes. Well, nursing homes are saying nobody can come in here. Right? And so how do they educate their students? How do they get them hands-on training? So they literally pioneered VR education, and they implemented a strategy where they were going to ship out a student box to individuals where this prospective nurse who gets accepted to school gets a box, has a VR headset in it, has all the curriculum, so this student can literally go into an operating room virtually, kill patients, and it's fine. It's all for learning, right? And so they really get that hands-on experience, and so their curriculum has just been just groundbreaking for the industry. And so these nurses are coming away with literally on-the-job training, but it's all done virtually. They get emergency room situations, they get all kinds of trauma situations that they're working through, the stress, the anxiety, dealing with it and overcoming it. So Nightingale had a phenomenal story to tell on how they've been able to do this, and they've just been absolutely destroying it from a performance standpoint. And they're having new students flock to their school because they can't get this anywhere else. Also kind of showcasing a day in the life of students, right? And then really just building that brand and helping people understand why. You can go on a waiting list to get into a nursing program here, or you can start right now and you can get all this kind of experience right from the get-go. So it's been a really cool journey to help them tell that story and then implement and get it out there in the market for them. Another example, creating excitement and interest for new home communities, master plan communities, whatever the product is. If you can get the excitement and get the emotion and people get bought in that way, then their behavior will follow it. Their search patterns, the content that they're reviewing will follow that excitement based on the video and the things like that you're trying to promote. Okay, so ultimately, we're selling the sizzle, not the steak, right? And so when we look at results, that's really what we, as an agency, hang our hat on. So looking at that Nightingale video, it had a 58% view rate. So 58% of every person that we got that ad in front of watched it in its entirety. So they had the opportunity to skip at 5 seconds, but they stuck around and viewed that content because it was relevant to them. They're looking to become a nurse. They are on a waiting list somewhere else and like, wow, I didn't even know this was an option. So they've had record year-over-year enrollment. Literally every class start is just smashing the goals every single time, and they're continuing to just steamroll through the industry. And to the point where they've got multiple copycats just up and down I-15 in the last 12 months. Okay, so this is on Landsea Homes. So basically, as we look at these numbers, you can see, this is pulled directly from Kudos. You can see they spent $3,800. They had 18,000 impressions, 10,451 views, which is a view rate of 57%. Again, the people that we're getting that video in front of are sticking around because the content is relevant. It tells a story. It gets somebody excited. If you're looking to move and you see some of the features, some of the amenities and things like that in the community, you're like, wow, that's awesome, that looks great, right? So we see phenomenal engagement from that. Okay, this is an interesting case study how this was all pulled together. So this is a 7-month look back at a campaign that we started for a client. We delivered 16 million ad impressions, had 24,000 conversions. Here's what's really cool though. Look at the top 2 graphs, paid search cost per click and paid social cost per click. You notice a trend there? The reduction in cost. They're seeing a reduction in their ad costs because what we're doing is we're focusing on establishing and building that brand. So there's more people in the marketplace specifically searching for this brand and their communities and their products and their services, which come at a fraction of the cost. So their costs were declining for each category, but look at the total conversion numbers. They are skyrocketing. This company's has set multiple sales records. They're outperforming anything they've ever done in the past. And again, it's all based on get the right people, tell your story, put your plan in place, and then crush it. So Devin talked a little bit about this, and we'll just kind of wrap up on this. But as we look at total digital footprint, if you look at a video campaign, it's not driving a ton of clicks, but you look at how that interaction plays into your brand engagement across a variety of different platforms, and that's really where we quantify the success of the campaign is more people know you, more people want to engage with you. That's the success that we're seeing. This is just an example, more detail on that, but realistically it's all just focused on the engagement and how many people now know your brand and want to talk to you.